So let's see, what's the title of my talk today? Oh, there it is. How to be spirit-led and emotionally wise. Have you ever been in an elevator with someone who is continuing to press the close the door button? And they just keep it up, and even though it doesn't make the door close any faster, right? And we smile at this because you just know that it's not going to do any good, right? Well, isn't that the same thing in life for us? That we keep pushing emotional buttons, expecting, we do it over and over, don't we? Trying to force something to change, only to find that nothing changes except our own stress level. True? Right? We want things to change. Being spirit-led means stepping back, breathing, and remembering the door will close when it's time. This is very indicative of last week's talk. And if you were not here, I'd encourage you to go and listen to last week's talk about the calming ourselves, how to get ourselves into peace again. So this is kind of another segue from this. The door will close when it's time. Emotional wisdom, being emotionally wise, emotional wisdom is choosing not to keep jabbing the button, but to trust, right? To just trust, wait, and stay at peace. Have you done that before in the elevator? As you watch this person doing that, and you're just like, not going to do any good. It's going to close probably when you quit pushing that button, right? Let's go to, okay. And Dave, if you can hang on and I'll call for them, that would helpful. Nope, go back. There we go. And I'm not sure, can you read that okay? Being spiritual has nothing to do with what you believe and everything to do with your state of consciousness. We can have a lot of beliefs, can't we? But it's what we hold in our consciousness is what the universe is listening. We've talked about that last week. I've talked about it for years. Sandy's talked about it for years. The emotions, the emotional part of us is always releasing a vibration. It's not the belief. And Dave, if you can please go back to that back one, I'll call for them. Okay, thank you. Your state of consciousness helps regulate EQ. I've done a sermon on this quite a while ago about the IQ versus EQ, right? Intelligence, the mental intelligence versus emotional intelligence. It's the IQ is intelligent equivalent. I think that's what they call it. And the EQ is emotional equivalent. I'm going to start with the IQ. We all know what that is pretty much, don't we? Yeah. What's their IQ, right? And so that is what's their, you would call it book smart, their intelligence, their academic achievements. And the role of IQ helps us with critical thinking, technical skills, solving complex situations or problems. It's good to have a high IQ, right? It's helpful. We need it. Emotional EQ, emotional intelligence, is the ability to understand and manage one's own emotions, not somebody else's. God knows I've tried. Haven't we all, right? I've tried to manage Michael's emotions while he's gone on this sailboat for a month. How's that working for you, Kathy? It doesn't. He's having a great time, and I'm putting myself in hell. Can you experience that for yourselves? You ever done that in your own life? So this emotional intelligence is very important, and its role is crucial for leadership, for teamwork, for stress management, for building strong relationships, for effective communication. They are literally, and I've said this before, they are finding in the corporate world that they are hiring more on emotional intelligence than they are hiring on intelligence, because they're finding that they can emotionally intelligence, people who are high on the emotional intelligence end they can work together well with others. They can problem solve. The mental intelligence, which is needed, but it's not as important in the corporate world. But honestly, it is not as important as in our lives. And in order to be spiritually led, we have got to raise our emotional intelligence, because otherwise we're in ego, aren't we? If I only relied on my mental intelligence, my intellect, I wouldn't be near the heart person that I am today. So it is about raising that equivalent. Buddha once said, if you are struck by an arrow, do not also shoot yourself with a second one. I'll say that again. If you are struck by an arrow, do not also shoot yourself with a second one. Now that statement sounds absolutely ridiculous, doesn't it? Who's going to shoot themselves with another arrow? But we do it all the time. The first arrow is life challenges. The second arrow is our reaction to the first arrow. It is our reaction, the anger, the resentment, self-criticism. We pile that all on top of the first arrow that just shot us. True? I mean, we do. We're reactive beings. What part of the brain does that come from? Front part of the brain, the fear and flight, the reactionary situation, whatever that is that's coming to us. The EQ, right, that's the part of intelligence that means noticing when you're reaching for that second arrow. James Allen wrote the book, As a Man Thinketh, and we hear this quote often, especially I know from Sandy and I both. Be the watcher at the portal of your mind. Be the watcher of the second arrow that you're about to stick yourself with. Be the watcher of the portal of your mind, because there is constantly information coming at us, isn't there? You know this. Every Sunday morning, I tell you, I get up, I do my meditation. Then after I'm in my right thinking, I say to myself, okay, I don't really want to, but I need to check the news because I need to know if there's anything that I need to address when I show up here on Sunday. Now, all I need to do is check the first 7 things. Does anybody else do this? You really have the consciousness that I'm not going to deep dive into this news app. I'm just going to hit the first 5 or 6 items, because if there's something I really need to know on Sunday morning, it's going to be in those top 5, right? And then I find myself scrolling again and again, and I literally watched myself sticking myself with a second arrow doing my talk today, sticking myself, and I had to literally out loud, nobody else is home but the dogs, and I say, because they're out on the porch with me, and I'm like, no, No, I don't need to, and I put it down. Does anybody else find themselves having to do self-talk a lot? Good. I'm not the only one insane and out on a porch with my dogs talking to them as if they understand every word I say, but I really do believe they do. Because they sure do look at me and they're like, Merlin comes right over with the, it's okay, right? Let's go to that next one, please. I love this. A man who conquers himself. Let's say a man and woman who conquers themselves is greater than one who conquers 1,000 men or women in battle. That is why you're in a unity church. Because unity is all about self-introspection. It is all about you finding your own truth and to stay centered in your right thinking, not what the minister says is right thinking. It's your own right thinking. I'm up here giving you a guide and examples, but it is all about you. And the man who conquers, this is Buddha, quote, who conquers himself is greater than one who conquers 1,000 people in battle. How many times in my life have I tried to conquer groups of people, trying to get them? Remember, I had a restaurant for 30 years. You want to talk about trying to conquer and reel them in, right? And who's the one that's going crazy and can't sleep at night? It's amazing. We often think strength comes from changing outer conditions, fixing someone else, winning an argument, or controlling our circumstances. But true emotional intelligence is not about an outer conquest. I want to make sure that you really get this, because that's sometimes why I repeat these things, because I'm not sure if we're really understanding. And honestly, I'm not sure if I'm understanding. So I'm going to teach it again, so I hear it again, right? It's why you sing the songs that you sing. Number one, they make sense. And number two, you need to hear it again, because we all need to hear these messages. But it is truly about inner mastery. That's what emotional intelligence is about. And who wouldn't want more employees like that in their organization? Who wouldn't want more congregants like that in their congregation, that are more emotionally intelligent, emotionally mature, caring, compassion, the kindness is first and foremost. First and foremost. Spirit-led emotion. Spirit-led emotional wisdom means what? It means we don't just reflect on what's around us. We transform it. We don't just reflect on what's around us. We transform the energy. We are powerful beings. And how do we transform the energy around us? How do I transform the energy when I'm looking at news? How do you transform it? What do you do? I see, pray. I see symbols of pray. I see symbols out there of you all sending energy. I see Marcy's back there. She sends heart loves everywhere she goes. That's how we transform the energy. It's not about meeting the negative energy with negative energy. I see somebody right there in front who gets it, and she struggles with it. So do I. So do I. You would think after this many years of these teachings, Sandy and I talk about this all the time. It's like you want to go, duh. I could have had a V8, right? For those that remember that commercial. I have got a video here. It's a short segment out of, does anybody remember the movie Bruce Almighty? Jim Carrey, right? And Morgan Freeman was God. And then Morgan Freeman bestows on Jim Carrey all the powers of God. And in this scene, not in this scene, but just prior to this scene, Bruce Almighty's in a restaurant and he's getting a bowl of soup and he's like watching anything he says happens. Like, oh my God, I really do have the powers of God. So he gets his bowl of soup and he's looking at it and he's going to part the Red Sea. So he parts his bowl of soup. And after that, he is now in a workroom with God, Morgan Freeman, and they have this brief conversation.
There we are.
It's good.
It's good. It's a wonderful thing. No matter how filthy something gets, you can always clean it right up.
There were so many. I just gave them all what they wanted.
Yeah. But since when does anyone have a clue about what they want?
So do I do.
Parting your soup is not a miracle, Bruce. It's a magic trick. A single mom who's working 2 jobs and still finds time to take her kid to soccer practice, that's a miracle. A teenager who says no to drugs and yes to an education, that's a miracle. People want me to do everything for them, and what they don't realize is they have the power. You want to see a miracle, son? Be the miracle.
You want to see a miracle, son? Be the miracle. And let's just show that next slide because I have requested just 3 days ago if they would just do this little segment. And that one is difficult to read. Parting your soup is not a miracle, Bruce. It's a magic trick. A single mom who works 2 jobs and still finds time to take her son to soccer practice. That's a miracle. A teenager who says no to drugs and yes to an education. That's a miracle. People want me to do everything for them. Can you relate to that? People want me to do everything for them. What they don't realize is they have the power. You want to see a miracle, Bruce? Be a miracle. And let's go to that next slide real quick. Nope, there should be one in between there, an Einstein quote. Nope, if we can go back. That's okay, then just go back one, please. I'll give you the Einstein quote. Albert Einstein said, there are only 2 ways to live your life. You might be familiar with this. One is as nothing is a miracle. The other is as everything is a miracle.
When I was a boy each week, Sunday we would go to church and listen to the Reverend speak and share with them the holy word, consecrate the holy breath, and everyone would kneel and bow. Today the only difference is everything is holy now. Everything is holy now. Everything is holy now. When I was in Sunday school, we would learn about the time Moses split the sea in 2. Jesus made the water wine. And I remember feeling sad. Miracles don't happen still. Now I can't keep track. 'cause everything's a miracle. I said everything, everything, everything's a miracle. Everything, everything, everything is holy now. I said everything, everything, everything is holy now. Everything, everything, everything is holy now.
Thank you for fitting that in. Thank you. Thank you. There was a monk that was walking through a village when a man ran up to him and shouted insults. The monk remained calm and offered a slight bow and kept walking. Later, the follower who was with the master asked, "Master, how did you stay so peaceful? Didn't his words upset you?" The monk replied, "If someone offers you a gift and you don't accept it, to whom does the gift belong?" The follower said to the one who offered it, "Exactly. I choose not to accept the anger. I choose peace instead." Many of you are also familiar with the quote from Martin Luther King when the man spat on him and he took out his napkin, wiped it off, and then said to the man, "Here, I believe this belongs to you." That is a physical example of how emotional IQ works. Martin Luther King was very high in emotional IQ. It's also very high with an IQ. But when you can bring both to the table, look out, world. Can you imagine if we can all work a little bit more on our spiritual, emotional IQ? That this is how we're going to change our world. I want you to just repeat this with me. I'll say it. I am spiritually led. Say it like you mean it. I am spiritually led. I am emotionally wise. I am emotionally wise. Let's show that next slide there, please, Dave. There it is. Do not let the behavior of others destroy your inner peace. Send that out to your Facebook and Instagram audience. Can you even do that on TikTok? I don't know. Can you do it on TikTok? Yes, send it out to TikTok, would you please? Thank you. You got to look at the young people, right? I don't know, but you do. Yes, Marielle, you do all kinds of stuff out there to get the word of peace and love and joy and eat your Wheaties. Weedies. Eat your Wheaties. Let's go to the affirmation, please. Let's say this together. Centered in spirit, I respond with peace and say it again. Centered in peace, spirit, I respond with peace and clarity. May we all work on being just a little bit higher on the emotional IQ. That you be the watcher of the portal of your mind this week. Don't stick yourself with a second arrow. Namaste. That Christ presence in me truly sees and honors that Christ presence in each and every single one of you. Namaste.